Hello, everyone. My name is Kara Catherine White. This is for seminar, and my TED Talk is on Save the Bees. So the picture shown is someone who is hand pollinating a plant with a paintbrush. This is actually done more often than we think. It is a weird sight to see since we often have insects such as bees to do this job for us. So bees have been around for centuries. There are approximately over 20,000 species of bees, and over 4,000 of those live in the United States. They have been some of the hardest workers for when it comes to crop production, and they pollinate over 80% of all crops in the world, and they can even pollinate over 300 million flowers a day. Not only have they helped us with the food we eat every day, they also make honey, which is a sweet food substance we eat, and it is also used as an antimicrobial agent in medicine, and that is still used today in medicine, honey patches. So with over 20,000 species of bees, why would someone be pollinating a flower by hand? This is because in some areas there are few or no bees colonized, and without them, their vegetation and produce do not prosper. As the population of the world grows, there needs to be more food grown, and we rely heavily off of bees to do so. So, without the bees, they've resorted to hand pollinating the flowers. They have found a drastic decrease in bee colonies. According to the United States National Agriculture Studies, they have shown honeybee colonies have declined from 6 million hives in the 1940s down to 2.4 million hives in 2008. This is over a 60% reduction. But the world population from the 1940s has increased 200%. So, with more people, there needs to be more food made, and with less bees, there's less food being made. So many farms have expanded their lands to fill the expanded their land and crops to fill this food void, but have forgotten to include bees in this plan. They ended up creating a food desert for bees, and this is when they don't plant certain plants and flowers that the bees need for their own food sources, and then they can't pollinate. So bees actually unknowingly pollinate crops. They go from flower to flower to get food they need as an energy source, and they end up, again, unknowingly pollinating the flowers and crops. So without these flowers around, the flowers that they need to go to, they end up not pollinating other flowers and they leave or die off. In certain areas where bees are scarcely found, people have often been seen trucking in thousands of bee colonies from beekeepers. So, and this is for their crop to pollinate in every season. So when they're done, they actually get shipped back to the beekeepers, and they pay a lot of money to keep doing this. So the picture shown on the left-hand side shows how our produce section in the grocery stores look when we have bees pollinating, and on the right-hand side, it shows what our produce section would look like without the bees. And it's pretty accurate, but it's just to show how much that we rely off of bees to create produce and help us grow plants for us. So some problems we see are the uses of pesticides and herbicides. So pesticide is used to kill insects that may be disease carrying or eat crops, and this ends up just destroying the crop altogether. So pesticides are found to be absorbed by the flowering plant that bees go to drink nectar from. So when they drink the nectar they need as the energy source, there is actually a pesticide in it, and in turn it kills the bee. Herbicides are used to kill off weeds that grow around the crop. So an herbicide often kills off the weeds that flower for bees use for nectar, and where they go from flower to flower. So this also kills off their energy source. And even though they think they're doing the best for their crop, they're actually doing more harm than good. So this kind of pushes away bees as well, because they look for certain plants and flowers to go to. So if they kill off the weeds, some weeds are definitely bad, but they don't need to use as broad range, and it would help keep the bees there. So there are ways to help with the drastic decrease in bee colonies. So an organization called Save the Bees, it helps protect the bees, and their website provides information on what can be done to help. They accept donations and give other information to help out in your own way. And a fun fact is that famous actor Morgan Freeman, he converted his 124-acre ranch into a honeybee sanctuary, and he follows closely with Save the Bees. So, of course, it is not expected of you to buy a large plot of land just to turn it into a bee sanctuary, but there are other smaller ways that you can make a difference. So, this includes planting bee friendly plants and flowers outside, which could be cosmos, dahlias, sunflowers, and so on. So, it doesn't have to be a large plot of land, like I said before. You could just plant it in a pot or have a small garden, but just the littlest difference can make an even bigger difference. And there's also on a public level, there can be like wildflowers planted by roadways and on islands. So it's not just grass or lawn. It's a nice site, but also does help the bees in the long run. There's also reducing the use of pesticides and herbicides, either using less of them or have a chemical-free pesticide herbicide use, and just other alternatives as well. You can also support local beekeepers. So this is easily done by just buying from local beekeepers for honey, just for raw honey instead of buying it in the supermarket. So it helps just fund them in their own ways, and helps with the bees and the keeping of the bees. So there are many ways that you can help save the bees and be the change for the bees. Thank you for listening.